Oh, wow. Dominaria United spoiler hype video number 7. Here we go. Mesa Cavalier is for 1 white and 2 colors, is a 2/1 human knight with flying. When Mesa Cavalier enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. Yeah, there you go. Life gain. Flying creature. Okay. Next up is Frostfist Strider. 2 blue and 3 colors for a 4/4 elemental giant with Ward 2. When Frostfist Strider enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls, put a stun counter on it. So this stun counter, I guess, is the new evergreen mechanic that was spoken of in the Rosewater spoilers. It's basically, it doesn't untap during your next untap step. But it's, if you at any time you untap this. So you can't untap it artificially. So next up is Orca Siege Demon. For a beefy 1 black, 1 red, and 5 colorless, you get a 5/5 legendary demon with trample. It says whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Orca Siege Demon. When Orca dies, it deals damage equal to its power, divided as you choose among any number of targets. Yikes! You put this dude out, and then you board wipe your enemies. And then he gets insanely big. And then if somehow he managed to die, he deals all that damage divided as you choose. Hoo ha! Okay, next up is Threats Undetected. 1 green and 2 for a sorcery that says search your library for up to 4 creature cards with different powers and reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of those cards. Shuffle the chosen cards into your library. Put the rest into your hand. So a tutor with opponent's choice. I'm not unhappy with that. It's the lesser of 2 evils. Next up is Yavimaya Steel Crusher. 1 red and 1 for a 2/2 ape warrior with enlist. Now we explained enlist as this creature attacks, tap a non-attacking creature you control that does not have summoning sickness. When you do, add its power to this creature's power until the end of turn. 1 colorless, sacrifice Yavimaya Steel Crusher to destroy a target artifact. So he can attack as a powerful ape that can enlist the aid of other things, or you can use him to and sack him to destroy artifacts. Well, that's what you do in red, so yeah, that's fun. Next up is Samite Herbalist. For 1 white and 1, you get a 2/1 human cleric. Whenever Samite Herbalist becomes tapped, you gain 1 life and scry 1. Now, we just talked about the enlist with the Yavimaya Steel Crusher. Imagine using him with it. The herbalist, your Yavimaya Steel Crusher enlists your Samite herbalist. Your Steel Crusher's a 4/2. You gain a life and you scry 1. Hoo-ha! Okay. Next up is another foreign language card that I have to get the translation for. So this is it's Green Widow of Llanowar. 1 green and 2 for a 4/3 spider with reach and trample. It has domain, 1 green and 7. Return Green Widow of Llanowar from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. It gains if this permanent would leave the battlefield. Exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. This ability costs 1 less to cast to activate for each basic land among lands you control. So it's cheaper if you play it in a deck that has all 5 colors and you're using all 5 land types, basic land types. But you can return it from the graveyard, so that's cool. Next up is Aeron, Benalia's Ruin. For 2 white and 1 black, you get a 3/3 legendary creature, Phyrexian Human, with Menace. And it has 1 white, 1 black. Sacrifice another creature, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. This is a guy that was turned to the Phyrexian side. And he is not good at all. And he's cheap. And he has Menace too, so yeah, he's not happy. Next up is another interestingly powerful card in Tori Davenant, Fury Rider. 2 red, 1 white, 1 colorless for a 3/3 Vigilance Trample Human Knight that says whenever Tori Davenant Fury Rider attacks, all other attacking creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Other red attacking creatures you control gain trample until end of turn, and untap each other white attacking creature you control. Wow, so it basically gives kind of like vigilance to your white creatures, trample to your red creatures, and +1/+1 for everyone else. For everyone. What's not to like about that? Okay, next up is Keldon Flamesage. 1 red and 2 for a 2/3 human shaman with enlist. Whenever Keldon Flamesage attacks, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is Keldon Flamesage's power. You may exile an instant or sorcery card with mana value X or less from among them. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You may cast the exile card without paying its mana cost. Well, this is something we discussed in the Rosewater spoilers. So, yeah. And with the exile mechanic, with the enlist mechanic, you can pump that out. That's you can pump up Keldon Flamesage's power. So, especially in decks that are with instants and sorcery spells. Next up is Protect the Negotiators, which is 1 blue and 1 for an instant that has Kicker for 1 white mana. If this spell was kicked, create a 1/1 white creature token. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 1 colorless mana for each creature you control. Azorius control decks are gonna love this card. White Weenies and Azorius control band together to make one insanely powerful counter spell. Yahoo! Okay, next up is Strength of the Coalition. 1 green mana with Kicker, 1 white and 2 colorless. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If this spell was kicked, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. There's a fun card to use. Okay. Next up is Yavimaya Iconoclast. 1 green and 1 for a 3/2 elf with Kicker, 1 red, and Trample. When Yavimaya Iconoclast enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, it gets +1/+1, gains haste until end of turn. So if you pay, if you pay the green, the red, and the colorless, using the red as a kicker, it becomes a 4/3 trample creature with haste. Swing, baby, swing. Okay, I'm going to reload the page because that's the end of the spoilers at the top of the page. Oh, we have a few more. Dragon Whelp! Dragon Whelp! People are going to be excited about this reprint. It hasn't been reprinted in ages. So, Dragon Whelp, 2 red, 2 colorless. For a 2/3 flying dragon that has 1 red mana, Dragon Whelp gets +1/+0 until end of turn. If this ability has been activated 4 or more times this turn, sacrifice Dragon Whelp at the beginning of the next end step. It's updated from the original Dragon Whelp, and I think this printing was the part of the one that we saw in the last reprint. So I'm happy to see this. Next up is a land, Plaza of Heroes. And I think because I have some time left on here, I might be able to delve into the land cycle for this set. But this is Plaza of Heroes, a land that says tap to add a colorless mana. Or tap to add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast a legendary spell. Or tap to add 1 mana of any color among legendary permanents you control. Or pay 3, tap, exile Plaza of Heroes, target legendary creature gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Banger land! Hoo-ha! Basic colorless, any color to cast a legendary spell. So some mana fixing for your legendary spell, or some mana fixing to use colors from legendary creatures you already have on the battlefield. Okay, I have got to get going because it's telling me that that my video size is getting a little large. So we're going to leave it at that and come back with more heroes and more cards and more Dominaria United spoiler videos.